Today, we're diving into a fascinating and thought-provoking topic: the impulsive behavior of the West to control how other societies, particularly African cultures, should live their lives. We'll explore the historical roots of this behavior, from colonialism to modern attempts to impose Western ideas of democracy and sexuality. So, buckle up and let's get started. Picture this: the year is 1884, and European powers are gathered at the Berlin Conference, carving up Africa like a Thanksgiving turkey. This marked the beginning of a long and dark chapter in African history, as colonial powers sought to control and exploit the continent's vast resources.
You see, dear Africans, we know what's best for you. Our superior culture and civilization will bring you progress and enlightenment.
The colonial era was a time of great exploitation and oppression for African societies. European powers, driven by a desire for resources and wealth, imposed their culture and values on African societies. The colonialists believed that their way of life was superior and that they had a moral obligation to civilize the uncivilized Africans. This attitude led to the exploitation of African resources, forced labor, and the suppression of African cultures and traditions. The colonialists believed that they were doing Africans a favor by imposing their way of life on them, but in reality, they were causing great harm and damage to African societies. Fast forward to the mid-20th century, and African nations are finally gaining their independence. But the legacy of colonialism lingers, as Western powers continue to push their ideas of democracy onto African societies. Behold, the ballot box. The ultimate symbol of democracy and freedom. But wait, is this one-size-fits-all approach to governance really the best solution for diverse African cultures with their own unique political systems? The push for democracy in African societies is often seen as a positive development, but it is not without its problems. Western powers often impose their ideas of democracy on African societies without taking into account the unique political systems and cultural values of these societies. This can lead to a situation where democracy is seen as a foreign concept that is not relevant to the needs and aspirations of African societies. It is important to recognize that democracy is not a one-size-fits-all solution and that different societies may have different ideas about what constitutes a fair and just political system. Now, let's talk about a more sensitive topic: sexuality. In recent years, there's been a growing push from some Western activists to impose their ideas of sexual liberation onto African societies. Love is love, and everyone should be free to express their sexuality as they please. But hold on, is it fair to impose these ideas onto cultures with their own unique beliefs and values about sexuality? The push for sexual liberation in African societies is often seen as a positive development, but it is not without its problems. Western activists often impose their ideas of sexual liberation on African societies without taking into account the unique cultural values and beliefs of these societies. This can lead to a situation where sexual liberation is seen as a foreign concept that is not relevant to the needs and aspirations of African societies. It is important to recognize that different societies may have different ideas about what constitutes acceptable sexual behavior and that these ideas should be respected. So, what can we learn from all this? It's important to recognize that every culture has its own unique history, values, and beliefs. While it's natural to want to share our own ideas and experiences, we must also respect the autonomy and agency of other societies. Let's strive for a world where we can learn from each other, appreciate our differences, and work together to create a more just and equitable future for all. Cultural sensitivity is an important concept that we should all strive to embrace. It is important to recognize that different societies have different histories, values, and beliefs, and that these differences should be respected. We should strive to learn from each other, appreciate our differences, and work together to create a more just and equitable future for all. This requires us to be open-minded, empathetic, and willing to listen to the perspectives of others. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history and culture. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.